Everyone, this is Ellen, and today I'm going to be doing another yarn review. This time I am going to be looking at a yarn called Havana, and that is distributed by Hobbii, Hobbii, that I picked up online. It's a company in Denmark, but I was able to get this yarn to the United States pretty quickly in about a week. You can see the picture of the cake at the beginning of this video. It's a beautiful cake. I saw it on their website. I think it's pretty new, and I fell in love. It is made by a company called Mayflower that is also in Denmark, and it really is a lovely yarn. So let's talk about it. So I took the cake apart, as you can see here, and made little balls separating all of the colors in the cake. I did this for a couple of reasons. This is the second cake that I'm working with, okay? So the first cake, I learned a few things. The first thing I learned is that this yarn does appear to have the propensity to, oh, how should I say this? Barf yarn. There were several times where I pulled from the center and just got a big glob of yarn barf while I was working on my project. And it wasn't that terrible. It was pretty easy to sort through. I think there was only one time where I had to actually cut it and spend probably 30 minutes working through this big, giant, tangled mess. I embrace these opportunities generally because I see this as an opportunity to do something else with my hands so that I'm not so repetitive with my crochet. So I think that's actually not a bad thing to have yarn barf. But at the same time, it does get a little bit stressful if you, maybe you're watching, as I was, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and maybe I was wanting to focus on the plot rather than have to sit there and actually think about my yarn. So, it's just, I just want you to know that it does sometimes get a little bit tangly. However, when I took my second cake, I separated them out this way and didn't really move the cake at all when I was working it, and I was able to really make sure that the yarn was pulled out very carefully, and I didn't really have that problem. Not anything more than took a minute to deal with a little bit of a twist. So it was very helpful to do this. So you can see these colors are gorgeous. They start at a dark, kind of like a dark brown that contains all of the colors that are in the rest of the cake. Maybe not all the colors. I don't know if I see the purple in here, but I see a lot of the colors in there. And then it goes to a little bit of a reddish hue with all the colors in there. It gets a little bit more red, kind of on the orangey side. We continue on to the orange, speckled with those colors. We get more orangey with more yellow involved, again with all of the colors scattered throughout. Then we get really yellow. And then we start to see some green come in with the yellow. We see more of a teal develop into a blue teal or teal blue. And then just a real true blue, again with all the other colors speckled within. And finally to a kind of purpley blue or a bluish purple. Yeah, sort of like the spectrum of the rainbow, but not quite, but it's definitely suggested. And when you put it all together in a project, it really does look like a rainbow. In fact, I am working on a project right now, which is another reason why I have separated these colors, and I will show you. So I am working on this project. And, well, here you can see the gradient, but I'm going to move my phone up so that you can see more of the project, see what that looks like. So, yeah, can you see? What is that there? Oh, that's the... Ooh. So you see there? Down to there. This is a short sleeve top. I have made a short sleeve top with this yarn. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that gradient. It starts with that dark brown with the color speckled through it. It develops down into the colors that I showed you. And it really ends up looking like a rainbow. A beautiful rainbow gradient. And I've been having a lot of fun making this top. Now, I'd never made a top before. Well, I did make a sweater, and I could talk about that, but I've never actually just made a top. And what happened was I started making a poncho, this poncho neck. And when I got down to about, oh, I don't know, kind of armpit, well, actually you can see where the poncho ends. When I got to about this point, I've tried it on and I thought, wow, you know, this would make a really good shirt. So I just started winging it. And I've written the pattern down. It's specifically a good pattern for women who are sort of busty, maybe plus size. So I did some, I feel, clever adjustments in the back with some decreases and increases down at the bottom. And that hopefully can accentuate my hourglass shape and maybe be a little bit more flattering than just a basic, you know, crochet top that's pretty easy to put together. You busty girls know what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so I'm going to have my camera back in here so I can have my hands free. Okay, so yeah, this is the project that I'm working on. Oops. Let's go like this. There, that's sturdy. And I've been enjoying working on this. It's really all just double crochet. Now the yarn, the Havana yarn made by Mayflower, they recommend a size 4mm hook. Let me see if I can find the, yeah. So they recommend a 4mm hook. The cake is 250 grams, about 8.8 ounces. It is 55% cotton, 45% acrylic, and the length is about 875 yards. The recommended needles, knitting needles and crochet hook is 2.5mm to 4mm. Now, I decided to use a 5mm hook for my sweater project, my top project, because I wanted more drape. And frankly, I just enjoy working with a 5mm hook. I think it's much more comfortable, and the project goes a lot faster. And I had just made a few shawls with like a 3mm hook, so I was ready to have a nice 5mm hook. However, I did create a swatch using the recommended 4mm hook. Okay, so I'm going to show you the swatch so we can get an idea of what this would look like if you use the recommended hook. So what I did here with the swatch is I did 5 rows of single crochet, 5 rows of half double crochet, 5 rows of double crochet, and then 5 rows of the moss stitch. So you can see, you know, they're all kind of lovely. One thing, I mean, there's still some drape with the 4mm. I think I would still have some drape, and maybe I should have used the 4mm hook on my sweater. But I'm so happy with the way my sweater's turning out, my top's turning out, so I'm not going to complain. But I could have used the 4mm. So here we have the single crochet. It's really nice in the single crochet. It just looks, it's soft. It feels like a nice fabric. It's not too thick, not too thin. It does move around very, very nicely. And single crochet is lovely, as is the half double crochet. I think the half double crochet looks lovely as well. Double crochet is right there. And as well as you can see the double crochet in my top here. See the difference between the 4mm, which is here, and then the 5mm, which is there. So they're definitely larger stitches. My only concern using the larger stitch, the 5mm, is that this yarn is made, let's see if I can show you. This yarn is made by twisting together several different strands of colored cotton. And it really creates this lovely gradient. However, with the larger stitches, it's possible that one of these extra little threads that are running through maybe could pull out a little bit easier with the larger stitches and maybe get snagged. That's my only concern. And I will report after I've worn this for a while, I'll report back and let you know. But for right now, I'm happy with this. And I think the swatch, the 4mm would work nicely as well, although I don't know if the drape would be quite as nice. Also, I'm not sure I would be able to get as much mileage. This entire plus size short sleeve top I made with just one cake. And that's pretty remarkable. I do have another cake and I am going to be using it. I do want to add sleeves. I want to put some bell sleeves on there. So I definitely need another cake. And that's another reason why I separated out these little balls, is because I want to make a gradient going down on the bell sleeves. So I'm going to, do, I don't know, like 3 rows of one color, 3 rows of another, et cetera, and I'm going to have to divide that between 2 sleeves. So it's going to be very helpful for me to have these extra balls. But also I think it's helpful for you to understand what this yarn is comprised of, so that you can really see it, see what you're getting. The color of this cake that I'm using is called African Daisy. Havana comes in all sorts of really beautiful colors. The price is $34.99, so basically $35 for a cake. I got it on sale for $27.50. If these go on sale further, then I will probably be buying more because I really, really love these. But even when you think about it, an entire short sleeve top in a plus size for one cake, for one $27.50 cake, I think that's not a bad deal at all. I think that it's comparable to what I would pay for most any yarn anywhere. And it's actually, I think, a really good price for the quality and beauty of this yarn. Really, this yarn is some of the most beautiful yarn I've ever seen in my life. And it's really getting me thinking as well. It's getting me thinking about perhaps buying some really thin cotton thread in different colors and sort of twisting and making my own combinations. It's really getting my imagination going. So just back to the swatch there real quick, because I don't think I mentioned all of these stitches. I did the half double crochet, single crochet, of course the double crochet, and then finally this moss stitch, which is a single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, etc., etc. It's really, really an easy stitch. It's one of my favorites, and I think this is stunning. I mean, I just love the way that the colors just seem splotchy thanks to this stitch. I'm regretting a little bit not making my top in this stitch, but then again, I was making a poncho. So, but anyway, I love this moss stitch. I mean, and what's nice about the moss stitch too is that you don't get a lot of holes. You can't see through it very easily. It's a nice, dense fabric, but at the same time, it's really thin. It's thinner feeling than the single crochet. So this is a lovely stitch to just, I'm going to have to do something with this stitch in this yarn. I'm going to have to. And that's one reason why I'm making this video, is because I want to be able to know what these different stitches look like and act like in the swatch, because as a yarn lover, I totally plan on buying this yarn again and making something else. And I'm not going to remember 2-3 months from now any of this, so it's great that I have a video. Speaking of which, if you would like to see what I'm doing in terms of crochet, I've got a lot more yarn to review that I'm really excited about. So make sure that you subscribe so that you can be notified when I have a new yarn review video up. I'm going to be reviewing the Mayflower Flowers 4 yarn, this cake of yarn that I got. I'm going to be reviewing that. I haven't even played with that yet. I'm very excited to play with that. As well as I got this one, which I don't know. I think that reminds me of the moon. I just love that. I can't wait to do something with this. I also got a bunch of different colors and twirls to review, and as well as the Twirls Deluxe, which I think I may have already reviewed. I don't know if I've put that video up yet though, but definitely have some more Twirls Deluxe. I think with these two Twirls Deluxe cakes, I'm going to use them together in combination to to kind of create a really neat contrast by alternating the use of the cakes, by alternating rows. You'll see what I mean in the future when I do a review. And then, of course, the Twisters Deluxe, which is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm going to be doing a more thorough review on that too. I actually have created an entire shawl with this already, so I really feel very familiar with this yarn. So yeah, I've got all this wonderful yarn to review. So make sure that you subscribe so that you are notified about that. And also, very soon, I'm going to be looking at tons and tons of gemstone beads. I don't know if you're a bead fan, but a lot of us crafty girls are. So, and that's really what I'm known for. I have been a professional jewelry artisan for the past 14 odd years. And I have, I don't know, probably about 1 million gemstone beads to sort through at this point in my life. And I either do that all by myself or I share it with people who enjoy watching the pretty things. So I figured it'd be more fun to share that process. Besides, I can share a lot of really good information with you. I'm kind of a stone geek, and I can share what I've learned, as well as share the stories behind how I got those beads. People always ask me, where did you get that bead? What is that bead called? What's that stone like? What, you know, so I'm going to have a video series just focused on that as well. So if that's something you're interested in, as well as the yarn, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be putting a lot of videos out in the near future with really neat yarn reviews, crochet projects, crochet tutorials, as well as looking at my gemstone bead collections. And then finally, I want to thank you for joining me today. It's a lot of fun reaching out to the world of YouTube and not knowing who's going to be watching your channel, but so far I feel that it's just a bunch of really nice, creative, crafty people, my kind of people, and I hope that you have learned something from this video. I hope that you have a beautiful day and that you enjoy your crochet, and I will see you in the next video, okay? Well, take care. Bye-bye.